It starts in the smallest moments. You hesitate before saying what you think. You smile when you don't feel like it. You say it's fine when everything inside you is screaming that it's not. It doesn't feel like a performance. Not at first. It just feels like being considerate, being a good person. But over time, those little silences become your second skin. Not a costume, but a cage. You carry it everywhere. The invisible identity you never asked for, but were trained to wear. You became the dependable one, the easy one, the quiet strength. And somewhere along the way, your worth got tied to your ability to disappear. No one told you directly, but you learned early. Being agreeable gets you approval. Being small makes you safe. And love, that's conditional, earned by how well you can suppress your needs. You learn to earn affection by softening yourself, by shrinking just enough so others could feel big. You were praised for being low maintenance, for never complaining, for going along with things. And maybe back then, it worked. Maybe it kept the peace. Maybe it protected you. But now you're exhausted. You're drained from the inside out. Tired of being the emotional anchor for everyone else while no one checks if you're sinking. Tired of saying yes when your soul is begging for no. Tired of feeling unseen, unheard, untouched. Except when someone needs something from you. You did everything they said would make you loved. You were kind, you were patient, you forgave, even when it cost you everything. You gave your time, your energy, your heart. You were always available, always reliable. And for what? Not admiration, not loyalty, not respect. Just more expectations, more taking, more silence. You were sold the lie that goodness guarantees love, that if you just keep giving, eventually someone will see you. But Machiavelli whispered a different truth, one that stings at first but liberates you if you're brave enough to listen. He said, being good is not enough. Being effective, that's what matters. Not because he was cruel, but because he was honest. You've lived long enough to see it. The world doesn't bend for the selfless. It rewards those who know how to draw lines in the sand. Not the loudest, not the coldest, the clearest. Because when you're always pleasant, always pliable, people don't see your heart. They see a tool, a resource, a convenience. And here's the twisted part. You taught them to see you that way. Every time you smiled through discomfort, every time you said no worries when it was absolutely a worry, every time you apologized for simply existing, you were teaching them your role. Not because you're weak, because you were conditioned. Conditioned to be non-threatening. Conditioned to believe that your boundaries are burdens, that your voice is dangerous, that your needs are too much. This is more than behavior. It's emotional programming. You were groomed to be loved for who you pretend to be, not for who you really are. And that's not love. That's performance-based tolerance. But let's make something clear. You're not crazy for feeling this way. You're not broken. You're just waking up. Waking up to the reality that your silence hasn't protected you. It's erased you. Waking up to the cost of being palatable, of editing yourself to be liked, of being so agreeable that even you forget where you actually stand. And once you see this, you can't unsee it. You start remembering all the times your gut clenched, but your lips smiled. All the moments when you absorbed mistreatment and called it understanding. All the times you labeled self-abandonment as kindness. You became easy to love, but hard to respect. And the saddest part, you thought that was the goal. Because the world told you that being nice was the highest virtue. But Machiavelli offers something radical. He teaches that perception outweighs intention. That power isn't evil, it's necessary. He said it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. But he wasn't glorifying fear. He was reminding you of something vital. Love without respect isn't love, it's dependency. And kindness without boundaries isn't virtue. It's vulnerability to exploitation. You don't need to become a tyrant, but you do need to stop offering yourself like a doormat and expecting a throne in return. Respect starts where people know you mean what you say. It starts when you say no, and it actually means no. It begins when your silence stops being assumed and your standards start being felt. So what do you do now? You stop apologizing for existing. You stop filtering your voice to keep the peace. You stop accepting crumbs and calling it connection. You were trained to seek safety in being small. Now it's time to seek truth in being whole. That means rediscovering what it feels like to speak without fear. To say, this is what I believe. This is what I need. This is what I will not tolerate. And yes, people will resist. They always resist when you outgrow the role they cast you in. They will say you've changed, that you're difficult now, that you've become selfish. But that's not a crisis. That's confirmation. It means you're finally becoming real. Because somewhere along the line, you started thinking those were your only two options. Be quiet and accepted, or be honest and alone. But there's another path. One where you stop negotiating your self-worth for scraps of affection. One where you refuse to contort yourself for validation. One where you don't need to choose between kindness and strength. You can be both. You must be both. That's the power of the fox and the lion, as Machiavelli said. Cunning enough to see what's happening, strong enough to act on it, empathic enough to care, but wise enough to protect yourself when caring is weaponized against you. So this is your turning point. You no longer exist to make others comfortable at your expense. You are not the emotional shock absorber for everyone else's discomfort. You are allowed to take up space, to be messy, to disappoint people who only liked you quiet, because your voice is not rude, your boundary is not cruelty, your needs are not too much. They are yours and they matter. Let them feel the shift. Let them call you selfish. Let them miss the version of you that made their lives easier. Because the real you, the one who speaks, the one who draws the line, the one who finally says enough, that version isn't cruel. That version is free. And freedom begins the moment you stop asking for permission to be whole. If this message resonated with your spirit, consider sharing it. Someone out there might be carrying the same questions, the same doubts, the same quiet hope, and your sharing might be the reminder they need. Stay true, stay kind, stay you. For more insights on philosophy, personal growth, and the art of clear thinking, subscribe and turn on notifications. Flow through life and embrace the journey of thought with curiosity and insight. Seek truth, seek wisdom, and remember to question everything. Until next time, stay curious.